Welcome back to In Black America Radio with your host, Rasta B. It is Friday, February 21st, 2020. Today's show title is called In Black America Radio, Who Killed Malcolm X, Review, and more. The guest calling number is 516-531-9992. So, as you know, last week I only saw 2 episodes from the Netflix series Who Killed Malcolm X. I finished it a couple of days ago. I believe it was a Wednesday. So I'm gonna wait until my co-host Smoke patch in, and then we're gonna go back and forth with the discussion and the build. I'm gonna do it like that. I'm not gonna try to get too deep into it and things of that nature. I'm gonna let it flow when it's time to flow. But until Smoke get in, let's talk about some other stuff. Now, one I want to say, R.I.P. You know what I'm saying, to the rapper man, Pop Smoke. He was murked out in Cali, and it's all of that we're going to tie in into the whole Who Killed Malcolm X. So I'm going to let the whole information come out the way it comes out. It is Black History Month, and the person that I am going to be reading from would be, in this go, I will be reading from Franz Fanon, Black Skin, White Mask. I'm going to be building on, reading little chapters and excerpts and parts from there. And just to tie into the bigger picture, another part I wanted to speak on for today's show is going to be on why I say that black people are the real white supremacists. So we have a lot to touch on today. But when it comes to the black people being the real white supremacists, I mean, I can dabble on that one right now. That title, that portion of the title came from really me being on black YouTube pages like Roland Martin or D.L. Hughley or different sites. So if you're on there, you're going to see that In Black America Radio with that black power fist in there talking shit, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. That's me. So what happens is, I notice that every time I make mention, like, the issue that black people are dealing with in this country is one issue, and that issue is we don't have our own economy. We don't make and produce nothing, right, in a capitalistic society. And every time I say that, I'll hear these people, they'll be on the comments, and let's say, to be fair, I presume that they're black, right? And they'll say things like, "Oh, brother, soon as you decide to create something, or you want to try to create this black economy, or you want to make products to sell, the white man going to come and take it away, or he's going to burn it, or he's going to change the rules on you. The white man going to come and he's going to stop everything." And I'm reading this shit and I'm like, why do we prop white people up so high? Why do we worship them? For lack of a better word, or for that being the perfect word. Why do we worship white people? I say to these same knuckleheads when they say this to me, I say, you do know the white man kicking the doors for selling drugs, and we still sell drugs. You know the white man changed the rules up and create gang injunction laws and round up 100 niggas at a time and ship them off to the damn warehouse called prison. But we still join gangs. So if the big bad white man actively cracks your head for committing crime, and you can still commit crime then how do you get scared when the solution to our problem is rebuilding our economy? How do you then get nervous and say to yourself, you know what, I'm nervous, I'm scared. I don't. Just the thought of us coming together, building something, it just brings the fear of the white man and his wrath. But you don't have that fear when we committing crimes. So when I'm seeing little things like that and hearing little comments and words like that, I always say to myself, well, you know what? To me, the only people that I hear really prop white people up like that is black people. I don't even hear white people prop themselves up like that. I hear black people telling me how big and bad the white man is, how smart and clever the white man is, how crafty he is, how many tools and gadgets he has to stop us. And I said this years ago on the show, and I said it as a joke. And I said that if I was a white man, right, and I was feeling down, and I was like, damn, man, a segment of my people is on opioids, and the birth rate in the white community is low, and all these minority groups is flooding up the country, and now I have to be more concerning and sensitive to their needs. I feel like I'm losing my country. All I would do before I put that gun in my mouth to blow my damn white head off, I would say, let me listen to one of these pro-black shows. Let me listen to one of these pro-black guys talk. And I will cut on the radio or cut on the YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, and I will listen to one of these pro-black guys talk. And all you're going to hear is, that's right, because this white man's so wicked, he'll destroy the sun before he allow your black ass to rule the world. And then me, as a white man, down on my luck, feeling bad that I'm losing my country, I'll be like, you know what? It's a good idea. And you know what else this white man going to do? If you try to better yourself, black people, he going to destroy it. He got all the power. And me as a white man, I'll be like, you know what? I do got all the power. I do. You know what? What the fuck am I feeling bad about? I would take the gun out of my fucking mouth, and then I would go into the mirror, straighten up, with these pro-black guys in the background cheering me on, telling me how great and powerful I am, and I would go out there to reclaim the country. That's what I would do. Because when I'm listening to black people talk, we don't talk on a dominating level. We don't talk on the level where we're saying to ourselves, yo, you know what? We're going to run this shit. We taking this shit over. We're not allowing this shit no more. And you know what I'm saying? We're not going to have these different nations, these different groups in our communities, and they make us nothing but the consumers. The only thing that we can do in our community is buy from people that don't even look like us. You see what I'm saying? We don't talk that. We don't sit over there. We cry and we complain. We talk about, oh, if the people come together. If the people come together, the people don't need to come together. It's not the people's job to unify. It's not the people's job to do anything. I know that shit sounds crazy, right? Because you was taught to believe that silly shit. It's not the people's job to do shit. The only thing the people are supposed to do is wake up in the morning, work, and spend money. That is it. Raise their children. That is it. That's all the people are supposed to do. The people that got to unify is the black business community. The people that have to unify are the A-alikes, meaning black people with the same mind frame, the same goals and agenda. These are the people that have to link up. These are the people that have to create think tanks like this podcast in Black America Radio, which is really a think tank where we can share ideas and stuff and build and expound. But this is the type of stuff that you're supposed to do. You're supposed to share information, and because, again, how many of these same black people that props up white people and make them the big bad boogeyman in our minds, and then we pass this fear on to our children, how many of them will tell you in a heartbeat, you know, this country is ruled by 4 families. You know, the Illuminati is ruled by 2 families. You know, this whole system in government is ran by 7 families. You never hear them say they're ran by all of white America. All of white America came together and they, no. Now, they do sort of kind of say shit like that when you hear them say, no, white people is on code. And all this little mate, all that shit is, again, black people propping white people up to be this great person. So then you say shit like white people is on code. White people are not on quote-unquote code. There's no code that white people is on. You have to understand how economy works so you can understand why groups of people, all groups of people, except black people, practice supremacies. Asians practice supremacy. Latinos practice supremacy. Whites practice supremacy. And black people got bred out of practicing supremacy. So while everybody fights to strengthen their race and make sure their race is the strongest, we're content on not linking up to dominate. We're content with working for these people. Why? Because when you breed your children up from slavery and you have a docile slave mentality, right? Now follow me. And then you break that mentality and start creating industry and business which contributed to these towns that we call Tulsas and Rosewoods and things of this nature. And we have these economies. And these economies get destroyed by the government. And then these dirty crackers start to kill black owners in the South and hanging them, destroying our economies. And then a lot of us have to run up north and out west for work, in the Midwest and out west for work in factory jobs. And then we have to deal with high crime and poverty and poor education and learning. And then we have to deal with the black on black crime and the gangs in our communities and our system. And then the system tells the black woman, get rid of the black man, and you can come into our social experiments called the projects with you and your children. And then when these children grow up without a stable family structure and a balance in the family, and then you got boys who is separate from the woman, and little girls who are separate from the boys. So they grow up to become 2 different entities. And now these groups start warring with each other, getting up with different races and different group ideology thinkings, and it no longer be about black. Then we sit here and we say, well, why children, why do we move in a certain mind frame and act in a certain way and feel like all we're supposed to do is work for somebody, slave for somebody, entertain somebody in some shape, form, or fashion. And it's because we're being constantly attacked. Once you acknowledge the realities of our conditions, then you can understand the importance of the solution of rebuilding our economy. They didn't kill black people because black people was lazy and shiftless and not doing shit. They attacked black people because we were doing shit, we had shit, and they knew that they were behind. Black people outnumbered white people in the United States at one point. That's the reason why they opened their arms up to Europe for their weak, their poor, their sick, and all that shit like that for Ellis Island. They did that to increase their numbers because black people outnumbered them in America. This shit don't make sense. They burnt down our towns because our towns were economic strongholds. That was our economies, not just fucking towns. It wasn't just communities. These were economies. That's why they destroyed them. They lynched these black men and these black women who were business owners, not bum-ass niggas in the streets. They destroyed our economy to put us in this position that we're in. So the only way for us to get out the position is to rebuild our economy. Y'all going to get it one day. Y'all going to get that shit one day, y'all. I hope that day is tomorrow. Straight, but I'm getting hyped right now because I already see my co-host is inside the building. So let me go ahead and bring him in. Smoke, that's you?
Nah, it's not me.
Yo.
What's poppin'? Shit, man. Working on this. No, I was just saying, working on this damn floor and shit. I lost track of time. I'm like, oh shit. I got damn dust all over the place. I'm like,
I thought this shit was about to be a solo fucking show.
Nah.
Damn, yo. Let me paint
I was telling Fat Boy, like, yo, let me know when it's 8:45. So he could just clean up this joint out. It's bad dusty. I'm looking up, it's 8:55. I'm like, oh, cuss. But yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Nah, that's what it is. So you doing the bathroom, putting the towels and shit down?
Nah, just in the little laundry area. I'm trying to, test my skills. It ain't really that big of an area. The bathroom not that big either, but there's more shit to work around, you know what I'm saying? So there's like a square area, rectangle area. So I'm going to try that, see how that look, you know what I'm saying? Make sure. So far it seems like it's going to work, you know what I mean? I was just like looking at YouTube videos, and then the old head that be working on the crib sometimes, we called him, and he like just giving us pointers over the phone. So I'm like, all right, I think we can handle it. So far so good, you know what I'm saying? Got to actually put the towel part down tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
Nah, that's what it is. That's what it is, man. Ain't nothing wrong with no handiwork shit.
Yeah, I definitely ain't trying to pay that.
Nah, I feel you on that shit, man. Because a lot of times you really just paying because you don't know. Once you know how to do that shit, you realize how easy that shit be. You know what I'm saying? That shit don't be no hard shit. Just be you don't know. I'm not privy to this type of information to do this shit. But once you privy to this shit, I mean, what we talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's definitely not too hard so far. But
shit, but that's some good shit though, you know. So yeah, while you on here, let me go ahead and just let's get into the breakdown of the Netflix joint Who Killed Malcolm X.
All right, bet.
All right, now start the shit off. You know what I'm saying? Start it off, cause you've seen it before.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, I mean the name of it is Who Murdered Malcolm X. It's John Netflix joint.
Oh, murder.
Is it Who Murdered?
I gotta change the title.
Yeah, this is murder. I want to say it's murder. Yeah, I think it is. But
Nah, you probably
it's on
right.
Netflix. Everybody know what we talking about. If one of us wrong, you know what I'm saying? I want to say it's murder, but it's pretty much a documentary that it pretty much just details basically the killing of Malcolm X. You know, that whole process. And so, you know, it touched on his earlier years, but most of it is just based on the events that happened.
The lead up.
Yeah, pretty much the lead up, the after, the after effects. So pretty much the writer, you know, he's like attached to Malcolm X. He's like, you know, pretty much obsessed with it. How, you know, he's painting himself in the documentary. You know, it's like he want to find out the information. So he's going through years and years of research, getting closer and closer. And, you know what I'm saying, pretty much this is what he's giving you is this documentary, like 5-part series or whatever. And, I mean, it's well put together. So if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth checking out.
Very well put together. But you know what I want to tell people? Even though this ain't on Netflix, check out Who Murdered Malcolm X. And on YouTube, check out Steve Coakley's Jesse Jackson involvement in the murder of Martin Luther King, the assassination of Martin Luther King. Put in like Jesse Jackson, assassinate Martin Luther, something like that. You're gonna see it on there, Steve Coakley joint. When I tell you that's another good one right there, because when I first seen that shit like years ago, maybe like. What am I, 39? So it's longer than 10 years because I wasn't 29. So over 10 years ago, I seen that shit, right? Damn. When I seen it, yo, that shit blew my mind, yo. So I used to tell people, I used to be like, I'm not saying the brother saying is right in a documentary, but what I'm saying is, he makes a goddamn good argument. He makes a good ass argument. Like, you can't even deny the argument. Yeah, it's a flawless argument. It's like shit. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no you putting shit together to damn make a point. You know what I'm saying? It's just when you're looking at this shit, because again, you gotta remember shit that we did in the 60s can't fly in 2020. You know what I'm saying? So there's a part in there where Steve Coakley, he highlights, because this is like a whole running theme, right? So Martin Luther King is already assassinated. So you hear like Ralph David Abernathy, you know, people like that. They like, nobody talks to the media. Nobody talks to the media. Let's go. The media, like, you know, we want to talk. And they're like, nobody talks to the media. Let's go. Everybody be going to the hospital, right? Then Steve Coakley goes, now watch this. Same video. It ain't like he's showing you clips. All he's doing is pausing it and talking and then hitting play and letting the shit keep running, right? All of a sudden they flash. And then you see Jesse Jackson now. So he goes, hey, let me get a ride to the hospital. Anybody riding to the hospital? I guess, if I remember correctly, a lot of people was like, nah. So he started to realize, it must be only the reporters there. Now he out there. Yeah, so Martin Luther King, and he got shot, and this is what we plan on doing. So now all the attention and the lights and the cameras is all in Jesse Jackson's face. Everybody else left to go to the hospital. And you can hear on the audio the rest of the members saying, nobody talks to the media. Let's go. We all going to the hospital. It ain't like it's not like Steve Coakley is saying, this is what was said. I just don't hear it. No, you literally hear it.
It's there. He's not telling you to come to that conclusion. You hear it.
Right. You ain't coming, right. And then he highlights the part where he goes, and the argument, now this is what he said, right? So I didn't take him for face value. So Steve Coakley said, Martin and Jesse's last argument was about wearing the bow tie or the necktie, some shit like that, right? So
right, yeah.
He said he was wearing it, but Jesse didn't want to wear his. So he like, yo, put your necktie on. He like, nah, he didn't want to wear his. So they got an argument about that. So then that's when, when they assassinated Martin, they like, yo, all friendlies don't have a tie. Boom, they picked Martin off, right? So when he's saying that, I'm just like, yeah, but how you know that? You know what I'm saying? Because now you're telling me your interpretation. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, how you know that? The next scene, which is a clip now. This is a clip. The next scene, they show like, let's say ABC interview. This is like the 20th anniversary of the King's assassination type shit like that, right? So now they got Jesse on tape saying, yeah, and I remember the last thing me and Martin talked about before the assassination, we had a little argument about me wearing a necktie. And he was like, why aren't you wearing a necktie? And I'm like, well, yo, I felt the chill, yo. I was like, yo. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah. So if y'all want to look at some good documentaries on Netflix, look at Who Murdered Malcolm X. And on YouTube, look up Steve Coakley's. Just type in Steve Coakley assassination of Martin Luther King or Jesse Jackson involved with Martin Luther King. It's gonna pop up. When I tell you, them two are some good.
And Jesse, not to forget, Jesse was also trying to put himself as what was the Rainbow Coalition, I think it was. So like Martin was the head of that shit, and he was campaigning for that shit right then when they was telling him not to speak.
You said Rainbow Coalition?
So that was a part of that. Whatever the name of it was, it was some shit that he was the head of. I could be wrong. That was what came to my head. But he was like talking about
the rainbow shit is his shit.
Is Jesse Jackson?
That Jesse Jackson shit, if I'm not mistaken. Like that's
he was saying that he started campaigning for something, some position that Martin had. But you got to watch it. I don't want to even muddy up what he was just saying or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely a dope game.
Yeah, cause I've seen that in a long time. But to go back into the topic, which is the Malcolm X story. So, what was your opinion, and how did you feel on the documentary, in the sense of Elijah Muhammad, the Nation of Islam, how that was being portrayed, the police, the FBI, how that's being portrayed, and Martin from the beginning, then Malcolm from the beginning, and Martin, I keep saying Martin, Malcolm towards the end. Like, what was your viewpoints on that? I'll give my breakdown later.
Well, as far as like,
well, you know what? Let me break them down, and then let's just break it down like that. What was your opinion on the how the Nation of Islam was depicted in the documentary?
How they was depicted? I can't say it was accurate or anything like that, but like to me, it was. I don't think they was depicted badly. It seemed like, the order of events of how it happened is what it was. It wasn't really like a bias in it, but like to me, it was like it's hard to necessarily pick a side in the sense of like, you see it as like, you see what's happening. You feel for Malcolm, in the sense that he lost his life at the end of the day. For whatever you want to say, like it was the majority of the fault of his killing was put on the Nation of Islam, or whether you want to say it was the influence of the police, because that's really the dynamic. Yeah. Malcolm X disobeying the Nation of Islam, and we know he got killed. But who was the main person who had who caused it, or who brought it to life? You know what I'm saying? Brought that murder to life. Like was it, we know that it was Muslim brothers from the mosque that actually did the shooting. You know what I mean?
Right.
The brother, he breaks it down. The initial brothers, 2 of the 3 brothers that was arrested initially, they didn't have anything to do with it. They wasn't even there. You know what I'm saying? They served all a bunch of time. So through his history, right, exactly. So through his research, it comes, it's 4 other shooters. You know what I'm saying? So these is all Muslim brothers. You know what I'm saying? Now, do you look at it and say, was that the Nation of Islam? Because in any, they don't have anything that implicates Elijah Muhammad with him saying that he ordered the hit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So was this just something like the followers took in their own hand, and you know what I'm saying, and did it, or was it the police influence that caused these people to, that kept the dissension going? Because they made like there was a point in there where they spoke on how Malcolm was writing letters to Elijah Muhammad. And they said that the Nation of Islam members was intercepting them shit, so he wasn't actually getting them. But then they also said that the police was sending fake letters to different people throughout the organization, which that caused tension and issues. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, is it the fact that he wasn't able to reach out because of Nation of Islam members, or was it the fact that the police was actually getting into it? Because maybe it was something that would have been resolved over time. You know what I'm saying? Because one of the brothers in there from the Nation of Islam, he said that, if there wasn't no interference in his belief, they would have, Elijah Muhammad would have accepted him back. And they know that, in hindsight, that Malcolm, he wanted to come back at one point. So it's like, for me, though, the whole thing is like, if you watching it, me, I can't speak for everybody, but I might have a tendency to like pick a side, like, oh no, that cast was wrong. He was right, that was wrong. But it's like in this situation, it's like, it's hard to do that, you know what I'm saying? Because you understand, when you're part of a group, there's rules and regulations to that shit. And, there could be repercussions to it. Not saying that they're right or wrong, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but that's reality.
Then we also know, we also know what police have done throughout the history of police and up until currently. So it's like, that's the real dynamic. So it's just like, for me, Malcolm, he made one mistake, and they pointed down to pretty much what started the downfall was him speaking against Kennedy when Kennedy was assassinated. So it's like for the brother to make a mistake of such, and then it's just like to have all forces against him. You know what I'm saying? You got people within your former organization, shooting against you because of you disobeying. And then you got the police that want to take down that whole organization. It's just like, that for the brother to make that mistake, it was like, damn, you know what I mean? And there was more to it, but, that's just like just how I would say it.
Yeah, me, when I seen it, I'm like, me, shit. First and foremost, let me let it be known, I'm pro-violence. I'm pro-murder. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not that person that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I believe in that shit. So I say that to say this. I definitely agree with you. You can't watch it and pick a side.
Right.
You damn sure can't. And picking sides shit in this case is different. Now, this is my rundown. Now, when it comes to Malcolm, like I said, I'm growing up, I'm listening, you learn, you pick your sides between Malcolm and Martin.
Wow.
Majority of us picked Malcolm. But then as I got older, I really couldn't listen to Malcolm because I started to look and I started to say to myself, like, man, he's more like a follower. And if I'm moving and I'm saying, yo, I can't move as a follower, then it was hard for me to keep listening because I can't keep hearing like somebody else said, like somebody else said, like somebody else teaches us, like somebody else said. Like after a while, I'm just like,
right. I feel you.
You understand what I'm saying? So now, and this is years ago I say this, so now the documentary come out. I'm watching it. And I'm like, all right, so this brother here, and just to show you, first of all, I'm going to say, do I believe that the Nation of Islam was responsible in the killing, murder, assassination of Malcolm X? El Hajj Malik El Shabazz? Yeah. Yeah. That's clear as day. That's clear as day. And I'm gonna compare the assassination of the brother with Tupac's murder. Right? I'm gonna compare that. So if I get off track, Smoke, bring me back to that point, okay? I'm comparing Malcolm X to the Tupac shit, okay? Right. Now, right. I'm gonna compare the whole shit because this gonna ties into black people and our fucking us being the real white supremacists. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get into some more of that. I was talking about all of that shit earlier when I was waiting for you. All right, so now we got the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam is an organization, right? Created by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This was an economic organization. This was an economy. There was businesses. There was money. You understand that? This is where the power of the Nation of Islam comes from. It don't come from Allah. It comes from that economy, that strong economy. So that's how they're able to make these moves. See, let me tell you something, Smoke. And this is for everybody listening. Me and Smoke can come to your town and your city, right? And talk this truth and knowledge, right? Show you in real time what it is and how to, and what you got to do to get it. But if I can't make it tangible, right? If I'm saying the word correctly, right? If it can't be tangible, and it's just words, you're not going to take it serious. You're going to listen, and then you're going to be like, yeah, I heard something like this before, and go on to the next. But if you got an economy behind you, and now me and Smoke go to your city, and we talking and we building with you, we like, yo, so everybody drop $5 donation, right? And this to add into the last one. The last one was donations too, just so economy behind it. Now you donate, but because we already bred it up, that money was just so you could have skin in the game. Next week, we get in 25, 50 brothers from the community to help clean out and pull out wood and shit from this lot. And now these brothers come in the next day and shit and helping to build the structure for a building. And this is going to be the building where the people are going to come and huddle and meet at, where we can brainstorm and think and shit like that. if the people is seeing action, it's easy for me to listen and follow your program because it's action there. It's something there. My man who was on drugs is no longer on drugs. My man who couldn't get a job now have a job under the Nation of Islam. He's bringing home a living. We're living in a building that is owned by the Nation of Islam, so the rent that we pay is cheap. We in New York and we paying $300 a month for rent. You understand what I'm saying, Smoke? Like, if somebody can make this happen, right? If I could make this happen in real time, that's how you're going to be part of my group, and that's how you're going to listen and follow these rules. Because in this economy here, you're protected. We got jobs, we got schooling, we got food, we got businesses, we have damn properties and homes you can go. You're protected. You're shielded. Power of the Nation of Islam. It's their economy. It's not Allah. It's their economy. So now, Malcolm is part of the group. And he's a good orator, charismatic. He believes in the doctrine and the teaching of Elijah Muhammad. But what happened is, sometimes when the person that learned something from somebody, they believe it more than the person that taught it. You know what I mean? Because it's because at the end of the day, the follower is the child, and the leader is the adult, right? So even though I might be drinking, I don't want you to drink. So I'm going to tell my people this isn't right for us to do. Am I doing it? I might be doing it. But guess what? If I can get the masses of y'all not to do it, I can die out with my sin. I could die out with my weirdo behaviors. You know what I'm saying? But I left 1 million black people who believe in the concept of not doing that shit that I do in adult. You know what I mean? So
yeah, spread the good message.
Right, you know what I'm saying? It's that little dynamic. So now Malcolm is a follower. He's a good orator. So he was never supposed to rise as high as he was supposed to rise. But what they thought was, as he got higher, maybe mentally he would mature enough to see that you're not in the follower section no more. You here with the big dogs now. It's time to shine. But no, Malcolm was still caught into the simple knowledge and information of what? Helping the people. Building us up. The white man is the devil. See, he's caught up into that knowledge that everybody else is caught up in. So when he got up there to that sun, it burnt him. When he's realizing, like, yo, you telling me all of this stuff, and you got me believing all this stuff, and we from the lost tribe of Shabazz and all of this stuff. But then when this white devil died, you mad if I talk? But then if you look at Elijah Muhammad's situation also, I have my economy, right? We not troubling you whites, right? We not troubling you. We cleaning up the blacks, right? There's nothing for y'all to fuck with us about. And we have our economy, so we don't depend on y'all. All of this is by law. All of that. That's why there's a religious institution under over cloaking the economy. Because you're protected through religion, religious laws and shit in America. That's why the Nation of Islam's economy is cloaked in religion. So now it's like, we're not going to offend the whites. We're going to just do our shit, right? Just like Booker T. Washington said. You know what I'm saying? I should have found that page. I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it when I find it. It's when he spoke. You know what? Let me find it so I can say it all together. Because you got to remember, Booker T. Washington inspired Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey come to America to find Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington's already dead. So Marcus Garvey created the UNIA. You see? Now, the Garveyites is Malcolm people and Elijah Muhammad people. So economy is part of the DNA of this town. They know we need an economy. But now I'm going to go into the Booker T. Washington part where he talks in the Atlanta Exposition address. He says, right. Because I always show how all of this shit ties together. If you look at the big thing, I could pull books off the shelf and show how everybody's saying the same shit. But because it's being mistranslated, I guess, I don't know, nobody's picking up on this shit. So he goes, it says, the captain, distress, river, next one there, but cast down your buckets where you are, cast it down, and making friends in every, okay, so it goes, I would say, where it goes, okay, to those of my race, talking about black people, who depend on bettering their conditions in a foreign land, or who underestimate the importance of cultivating friendly relations with the southern white man, who is their next-door neighbor, I would say cast down your bucket where you are, cast it down and making friends in every manly way of the people of all races by whom we are surrounded. Cast it down in agriculture, mechanics, and commerce, and domestic service, and in the professions. And the connection is, and in this connection, it is well to bear in mind that whatever other sins the South may be called to bear when it comes to business, pure and simple, it is the South that the Negro is given a man's chance in the commercial world. So I read that part because of this. So now Malcolm is caught up in, because Malcolm's father, particular, was a Garveyite, right? So now the information obviously did not hit Malcolm, maybe subconsciously, because that's how it really works, and then it wakens up when people talk, but not in the forefront, because he's growing up in, foster care and shit like that. So now he's coming up attacking the white, not understanding what Elijah Muhammad is saying. Like, yo, let's move in silence and violence. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be easy. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't bring so much attention over here to what we're doing. And he's doing that shit. You don't know what type of arrangement. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I can understand that side of the argument too, right? And I understand Malcolm part, because if you tell me this is what it is, I believe the white. Yeah, right. I want my shit not to get bombed and fucked with. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yo, just be easy. Don't bring so much fucking attention right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's how the team move. But he's doing something else.
Now, something I noticed in the documentary that I found interesting was they said the person that the FBI had surveillance on the most was Elijah Muhammad, not Malcolm and not Martin.
Right.
Elijah Muhammad. And I said, why would they have so much surveillance and stuff on Elijah Muhammad when Elijah Muhammad was not offending the whites. He wasn't offending them. He was quiet, humble. He wasn't even interfering with black Americans. He was keeping it Islam. So if you're a black Islam, Nation of Islam, you part of my organization, this is who I'm dealing with. He wasn't out there reaching his hands out to black Americans. So why would the FBI be investigating him more than Malcolm and Martin? And me personally, you already know what I'm going to say, because he had the economy. That's the reason why. So now, when they muted Malcolm, now you started to see how economy works, because Malcolm can't get money in the white economy. Only thing he can do is get donations, basically, from people, you know what I'm saying, giving him handouts type shit, because guess what? We still had the economy in the 60s. It was slowly dying, but it still had some strength. You see what I'm saying? We don't know about that. We didn't have civil rights during that time either, because Martin Luther King didn't. The Civil Rights Act wasn't signed yet. So this whole debate that's going on, and this whole mind frame, and this whole conversation that's happening between Malcolms and Martins and Panthers and these different black organizations and shit like that. This is during, well, not even gonna say Panthers, because it was already signed by the time while they're bubbling. I'm talking about the ones prior to them. These black people are growing up without civil rights. So we, in 2020, could talk as much shit as we want, standing on what Martin Luther King did by getting the civil rights laws put on the books.
Right.
So at the very least, we could sue somebody and get paid, where back then you couldn't even do that. So the point of me saying that is to say this. You start to realize Malcolm couldn't get into the white economy. All them bridges were burnt. But then he's isolated from the Nation of Islam economy. Then they had the situation of what? Oh, they're starving him out. Then they're taking his home. And you're seeing the stress on him. And then I'm watching, and then you start to see the deterioration. Because now it goes from this strong black man to, I'm begging now to get back into the organization, and I promise I won't even say nothing. To then, it got to the point of, well, let me tell y'all about the Nation of Islam and how they really get down. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when they got to that point, that part to me was sad. That part to me was sad when it got to that point. You know what I'm saying? Because that showed me that he was starved out.
Yeah, it was
That's
over.
why I say, yeah, because you can't get money in the white economy. You burnt your bridges. You're part of the Nation of Islam, and then they kicked you out of their economy. That's how capitalism works. And this is how what black people don't understand. You can only survive in a capitalistic society with an economy, not without one. And Malcolm couldn't eat in the white economy. It was already burnt out. So now when this happened, what happens next? The FBI come to talk to Malcolm. Malcolm says, no, I ain't got nothing to say. They try to flip him, try to offer him money and everything. Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So when that didn't happen, and he's moving towards more Pan-Africanism, right? Now he's part of another, I'm not going to say economy, but I'll say he's part of organization where, liberal whites and shit, they donate bread and those type of groups. And he's able to get bread, and people, paying for him to fly out and all kinds of shit like that. And he's getting bread and paying for everybody to fly out and shit like that, right? So now the Feds is now going to the Nation of Islam. This is what I believe. Going to the Nation of Islam, and they like, listen, we can't take y'all down because Malcolm ain't trying to talk, and the spies that we have in your organization, they can't come with no fucking, they don't got no damn no dirt on y'all. You see what I'm saying? So I really do believe they was like, listen, help us, let us get Malcolm. Sacrifice Malcolm. Let us get him, because Malcolm, again, this is me looking at the documentary.
Right.
By the time when he got pushed out the Nation of Islam, the way I'm looking at it, he was powerless.
Oh,
he
yeah.
still had a voice, but he had no economy to back him. So now it's just talk. He's powerless now. Why do you think Muhammad Ali switched sides and went to Elijah Muhammad? That's an economy. Like, we don't get it. That's the reason. It wasn't he was disloyal and no. I'm looking at Elijah Muhammad and everything that he can offer with his economy, and then I'm looking at Malcolm X, and then I'm like, you know what? What you said, Elijah? He said, what? Damn, that's fuck. You know what, man? Yo, I'm sticking right here with the Nation of Islam with rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sticking here. That's how the economy works. That's how that shit works. So once he didn't have the economy and stuff, I'm seeing the breakdown. I'm seeing him fall and stuff like that. And then I feel like the Nation of Islam end up making that silent agreement or whatnot to be like, yo, y'all, we ain't gonna do nothing. Y'all got Malcolm. Y'all can do whatever y'all want to do with Malcolm. Because even with the firebombing situation, I found it interesting that in the documentary, the police says, yeah, we think that basically the police and Elijah Muhammad both believe that Malcolm X did it himself, firebombs his own home.
Yeah, because they had
and I was just
a bottle of liquor on there in the crib.
Right.
They said the police said they found a bottle of liquor, which he addressed. Like, yo, niggas don't drink, so why the fuck am I having liquor on fucking crib? But you know how that.
And I'm
goes.
like, even if that ain't you're not rocking with Malcolm no more. You mean to tell me you can't be like, listen, we don't fuck with Malcolm, but he don't drink. So, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to get involved in the shit, but yo, that brother don't drink. So how that liquor got there? You know what I'm saying? But nah, you agreeing with the police. So when I seen that shit, I was like, you know what I'm saying? And all throughout the documentary, you see Farrakhan fixing it. That's another funny story. But so now you see that shit. Now it's time for him to do the order bomb shit, right? Because again, even with him going to country and nation to nation and talking, right? Because one of the homies and shit, he was like, yo, because that's why he was a threat, because he was trying to link up with different African nations and saying, yo, if we come together, remember what I told you earlier, right, Smoke? If me and you go someplace and all we could do is talk to people and tell them what we can do, what's a good idea, and nothing tangible will happen, it's just rhetoric. There's nothing there anymore. It's powerful when you have that economy, that Nation of Islam economy. So now when you're talking, you can say to Nkrumah or to Zuma, some shit like that, Jacob Zuma, some shit. You can go to the president of Haiti, you can go to these places and then you could say, yo, listen, we want to do business with you. Let's do a negotiation and deal where we can trade different beefs and stuff off of our farms to your country, or let us get some certain amount of land where we can do That's how you do that. You know what I'm saying? That's what will make you a quote unquote threat. Not just because you traveled from goddamn country to country to talk to people and to inspire and motivate people.
Right.
That's not a threat. The reason why we keep thinking that's a threat is because we don't have the power to create. So because we only have the power to dream, that's it. We don't got the power to create. So because we only got the power to dream, you know what I'm saying? We take dreams as real and creations as nothing. That's why somebody could say to you, keep donating to me, and believe me, one of these days we're gonna get that school. You know what I'm saying? And then people will still, yeah, we're gonna support. 20 years later, we're gonna support. But if you sit over there and you be like, yo, we getting the school built, the school's built, and y'all come and bring your children and enroll them into the school. That's going to be the Comedy Central. Brother who gets the school built. The Comedy Central is going to be when you're trying to get these same black people who are all down and supportive, bring your child to the school. And they like, oh, that's out of my district. Well, is it accredited? Because my child got to get to high school. You know what I'm saying? That's when you're going to test everybody else pro-blackness. You know what I'm saying? But we don't take the real shit serious. We take the dreams. It's easier for me to dream about freedom. But if you tell a black person, yo, you want to see change? Teach that in your children. Teach them that it's their role as a black girl or a black boy to be amazing and outstanding and achieve, you know what I'm saying, greatness as individuals for the advancement of your race, for the betterment of your race. You know what I'm saying? If you seeing these two black boys fighting and you break them up, what y'all arguing about? What y'all fighting about? Let them talk that shit up, piece that shit up. That's small shit. You know what I'm saying? You know what everybody gonna say? That shit gonna take too long. These dumb niggas out here, you can't even see these little kids. And that's when you start to hear all of that self-hate again. And then you be like, wait a minute, what you want to grown up? Yeah, these little dumb niggas out here, that's when you start to hear that. Because they want everybody to be 30 and 30 plus and change. No, we're dying out. We're the elders. We're supposed to be the ones securing shit and locking shit. Again, if you have a child, and let's say your child 12, and you sitting around here, let's say you 40, right? And you sitting around over here now, you're like, that's right, brother, because we got to unify, come together as one, because us as black people, we're the original race and the masters of this and that. And then, but your child is gangbanging. Your child got his own fucking blood set or some shit. Your child out here in and out of jail shooting at people and shit. Like, that makes no sense to me. It makes no sense, you know what I'm saying? So now, because there's no economy, or he can only talk. So now it's time for the assassination. Because, see, when you kill Malcolm, you kill that dream in black people's mind. You don't kill it in the Nation of Islam. You ain't see none of them Muslims, none of them Nation of Islam members, none of them was walking around bummy. None of them was walking around homeless. None of them was looking fucking rough. All of them looked sharp. They looked like money. Why? Because they're part of the economy. You see what I'm saying? All of them. All of them. You ain't see none of them look bummy at all. None of them. They all kept themselves kept and clean and sharp. You see what I'm saying? So now now it's time for the killing now. So now they got the setup, and the whole shit set up like this again. Nation of Islam, you send your goons, your hit squad out there to kill Malcolm X. We're gonna stand back and allow y'all to do it.
Yep.
What the white cop said. We knew Malcolm wasn't gonna accept police protection, so we asked him. Yeah, that's an old fucking. They used to be one. Yo, let me say, that used to be one of my favorites. They used to be one of my favorite tricks, yo. When I was a teenager, they used to be one of my favorite tricks. I know you're gonna say no. That's why I asked you, because I know you was gonna say no. I used to love doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? So when he said that shit, I got it. I understood clearly. You already knew the game. This is all chess. This is when people talk about chess. That's chess, because you know the move you're gonna make. So you're gonna trick him, because guess what? I need that in writing. So when this come back, and they come back to me, and they say, why didn't you have protection? That's why we know that, it was a conspiracy to kill Malcolm. Where was the police protection? Well, here's the document. Here's a signature of Malcolm saying he didn't want police. Here's a thumbprint with Malcolm saying he didn't want police. We have a picture of him holding the same document sent to the future of Malcolm saying, here's a picture of Malcolm X with a T-shirt, NWA T-shirt saying, fuck the police. This is how much Malcolm X, we tried, and he said no to get him police protection. Now we're clear. Let's go, guys. Everybody drop off and leave. And guess what? Now we can have free range to go in there. Then they had the other dude. I think his name was like Robert something or some shit. I can't even think his name. But he was the protection. Because, again, remember, you're not part of the Nation of Islam economy. So you can't get that well-trained protection. Now you got to go buy some rinky-dink shit. You know what I'm saying? So you got this dude here who's a fucking cop. A straight-up cop, off the books cop, deep cover cop. And when they say, get your hand out of my pocket, because before I knew he was a cop, right? He goes, yeah, so then when I'm in the front, then I hear somebody say, get your hands out of my pocket, so I walk towards them. And I'm like, walk towards? Why the fuck would you walk? That don't even make sense. If you're my fucking bodyguard.
Right.
If you're my bodyguard, yeah, like, where you going, homie? The body is right here. You're going to be guarding me. You're not supposed to be walking down on niggas. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you.
When he said, yeah, when he said how he walked over there and shit like that, I was like, so then when they came out that he was police,
he was an agent.
I was like, oh, I said that makes sense, because that was your cue, so you don't get shot. Think about that.
Get the fuck out the way.
You're in the front, right? So for you to get out the way, you say, okay, so Smoke. So here's the plan, Smoke. So we're gonna have the goons up there. They're gonna be in the front row. They're gonna have guns up ready to shoot. All right, and you're gonna be standing in front of Malcolm. Now here's your question to me. Wait a minute, because I ain't trying to get shot. All right,
I ain't gonna get shot.
Smoke. Look, so this is what we're gonna do, Smoke. We're gonna have this guy here. When he say, get your hand out my pocket, when you move from in front of Malcolm, and then the guy's going to jump up and shoot. Bet. Guess what, Jesse? Look, I ain't trying to get shot. All right, Jesse, but guess what? Don't wear a tie. And I let my shooters know. Friendlies don't have a tie on. The target is the man with the tie.
Right.
And that's how you understand what I'm saying? This is the whole fucking story, yo.
And that the same dude that you was referring to, the agent, didn't he say that Malcolm was his friend? Like, this nigga's face was all sad on there and shit. Wasn't that the same
first
guy?
part of it, the beginning.
Yeah, like,
get
the fuck out of here, my nigga. You would have been dead or going, you know what I mean? You would have been shot at least. And you would have shot somebody if you was really, protecting him and shit or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's just like.
Here's the other part. Why did he give Malcolm mouth to mouth? You want to know why? Because I'm fucking undercover. Because I'm undercover. It would look weird if I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, that's stupid. Guess what? Same shit with the Martin Luther King, right? Steve Coakley made this excellent point. So somebody shoot hit Martin, and everybody is pointing. How you know they stopped? They're not gonna shoot no more. How you know the gun stopped? So how you know how many shots? Like, wow. And then y'all just confident. Y'all just still. What? Nobody ran. Nobody ducked on. Yo, y'all check that documentary out on Martin Luther King and Jesse Jackson involvement in his assassination on YouTube. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. So now that Malcolm is assassinated now, you know what I'm saying? And cause they said that the only reason why the other dude got caught, what? Because he bumped into the nigga or some shit, the little cop dude, and he fell, and that's how
he got
caught at the end. Yeah. He got shot in the leg?
One of the others. Yeah, he got shot by one of the other security, and then, that pretty much slowed him down. So whoever shot him was the only real person with Malcolm.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Really was out there.
But he may not even have been real either. Because you got to remember, they don't tell nobody.
Yeah, that's true, too.
Police didn't know who he was. Yeah. Because that's how you get the natural reaction. If we all know what's going on, then guess what? When you shoot, we all like, and they like, wait, none of y'all shot that? All of y'all missed? Like, this shit don't even add up. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, they had to do it like that. But now they shoot, and then you just see how that killed that spirit of dreaming within Black America. You see what I'm saying? That killed that spirit. So that was the whole purpose of Malcolm. But to me, again, I say, because you honor all black men and black women that stood up, regardless. From W.E.B. Du Bois, you know what I'm saying? Regardless, because they did it, you know what I'm saying? But the only thing we're supposed to do, not picking sides, we have to pick what worked for W.E.B. Du Bois, what worked for Booker T. Washington, what worked for Malcolm X, what worked for Martin Luther King, what worked with Elijah Muhammad. Did I say Marcus Garvey? What worked with Marcus Garvey? We have to see what works.
Whole gamut.
You're not supposed to sit there and say, oh, fuck Martin. No. Take what works. Take what works for these people and then put them together, because what you're going to realize is we're all on the same track. None of them was against the advancement of black people. Everybody just had their own idea of how it was going to work. That's it. It wasn't. It's not a situation where you have to, which is supposed to happen. It's called brainstorming. That's all. We all got ideas. We all at the table. If I say, so what you think, Smoke? What you think we should do to generate funds during Black History Month? And you're like, well, shit, maybe we should make T-shirts and sell them. And I'm like, man, what kind of bullshit is that, nigga? It's like, God damn, it's an idea. I just do something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see if it works. Like, how you shooting shit high? Just take the shit that works from each cause and put that together. And then you'll see the big picture. It's like a fucking beautiful quilt where you're going to see us with economic power, political power, strong family structure, stronger schools, safer communities, all this shit. But it's not for us to attack each other, to figure out who's right and who's wrong. That's the point. So
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So that's basically the Malcolm X joint. But now I want to get into word up. But I want to get into black people being a real. So the reason why I say that, Smoke, is because, a lot of times black people, we praise white people like we're obsessed with them. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'd be like, because think about it. When you listening to black people talk, right? We pump white supremacy. That white supremacy talk.
Right,
we don't pump black supremacy. Yeah, but we don't pump black supremacy.
I can do that. I can agree with that.
You see what I'm saying? But we'll talk about white supremacy all fucking day. You'll never hear black supremacy. When we talk black,
we have a stronger belief in it, basically.
We have a way stronger belief in white supremacy than black supremacy. And we'll turn around and we'll say shit like, if somebody do talk about black unity and black people trying to build and have something, first thing, black people is not a monolith. We're not a monolith. Like, we just figured out what that word was the other day. So now we got to keep using it. We're not a monolith. Well, we're not a monolith, then how the fuck are you supposed to unify? How do you say you want black people to unify and then say we're not a monolith? It's just stupid, y'all. It's like, it doesn't even fucking make sense, man. But that's my whole shit. It's like, how many times do we hear that shit? You know what I'm saying? How many times do we see us pumping the fucking, the scary white man fear? You know what I'm saying? Like, how many times do we pump that shit? So, that's why I be like, yo, I'm taking this up.
Yeah. I can feel you with that, because it's like, for example, like, we don't both heard some, people say, like, if we build Black Wall Street again, it'll get bombed like before. You know what I'm saying? And we strongly believe stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But then it's like, when you have, some black people or, certain ideas, or like in the case of economy, it's like no one even really talking about that. But it's like, if you just like in our discussions with like people in our personal lives, coworkers or friends or whatever, it don't really seem realistic to them. You know what I'm saying? It's more like, well, this is gonna happen or that gonna happen. So like, I can kind of, I agree with you. I mean, I see where you're coming from. Yeah. You can't really dispute it. You know what I'm saying?
At all, because we think like white people. That's our problem. So when we looking at ourselves, we look at ourselves with the disgust of a stereotypical white person. I'll say it like that. It's no different than like them trannies and shit like that. They're not. These guys aren't real women. They're being stereotypes of a woman. Just like them dykes ain't real men. They're just being stereotypes of what they think a man is. And we're not moving as black people. Because just like Booker T. Washington was saying, if we didn't worry about segregation, worry about economic power, we could develop our own culture, our own quote-unquote codes. You know what I'm saying? Things of this nature.
Right.
In doing that. You know what? You made me forget. I got 33 seconds. So here's why I say Malcolm X and Tupac. So because when Tupac got murdered, right, what everybody said, yo, that's the feds, yo. That was assassination, police and all kind of shit, right? And
conspiracy.
And the whole conspiracies and things of this nature, right? And then what you find out? Nah, that was just some black people, gang members. You see what I'm saying? And guess what? Here's the similarity between Malcolm X and Tupac. Here's the similarity between Malcolm X and Tupac. Everybody in the hood knew who killed Tupac. Right?
Yeah.
That was known from according to BG Knockout and shit like that. Like, niggas in the hood knew. They knew the story. They knew who did it.
Oh.
Malcolm X, niggas in Newark knew.
Same shit. Yep.
They knew who killed Malcolm. That shit. And what's amazing to me about
That's
that part, and I'm glad I see, that's the part that confused me the most. Because I'm like, if Malcolm was killed, assassinated in the 60s, and Naughty by Nature them came out in the 90s, and Queen Latifah and Redman and all these, what, none of y'all said none of this shit? Rod Digger and all kind, none of y'all said nothing, like, nobody said nothing like this, like, nobody, like, you know what I'm saying? None of y'all 5%ers, no, like, huh? That's what confuses me, because the way the documentary showed, that shit was an open secret.
Yeah.
Cory Booker to all of them different people and shit like that. Like, that shit was an open secret.
Yeah, the mayor knew all of them. Said they knew that. Nobody denied knowing that shit, or at least hearing the rumor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or the truth in this case. No, you know what I'm saying?
Word
but
up.
the thing that the part of that angered me the most is that and initially 3 brothers got arrested. 2 of them didn't have shit to do with it. And they was Nation of Islam members. You can't let two brothers fry. Yeah, you let them guys, rot away. One of the brothers died in jail. He didn't do it. And y'all know this. It's not like the police know this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, let's get these 2 other brothers out of here. Fuck it. Somebody got to come forward and do something. But it's like, it's like that. That was the part that angered me, and it wasn't like it was being suppressed, because when you hear all around, nobody was talking about that. You just mentioned all of the music that came out of there. I never heard that. That was the new part of the information to me, was that part, was who it was and all of that stuff. A lot of the other stuff, you might have heard it in bits and pieces. He put all that information together. But that was the new part, was that. And it was just like, damn, you know what I mean? It's like, there it is. Malcolm X is considered, one of the greatest black leaders. So, and we had a large part in it, no matter how much of a percentage you want to put it. The gunman was us, and people knew who it was. Yeah. And he still didn't, you know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, you know what I mean? And it's like, I get not necessarily turning the brother over to the police or whatever the case is, but in the documentary, a lot of people made a lot of the Muslim brothers or people in the Newark area was more so like, yo, that cat was protected by police.
A rider.
So,
he's a rider. He was a rider. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though they saying that protected by police and all that shit, so all that shit's cool, but nah, man, he's a rider. You gotta remember, the majority of people that the Nation of Islam were cleaning up was gangsters, man, jail niggas, street niggas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's a rider. You know what I'm saying? So they wasn't gonna fuck with him. He might have been connected, but yeah, it is what it is at this point. But
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So let me get into this. Black Skin, White Mask by Franz Fanon. Got 28 more minutes. So this is going to get into this is chapter 6, the Negro in Psychopathology. Psychopathology. Psychoanalytic schools have studied the neuroric reaction that arise among certain groups in certain areas of civilization. In response to the requirements of dialect, one should invest to which the conclusion of fraud or of order can be applied to the efforts to understand the man of color's view on the world. It can never be sufficiently emphasized that psychoanalysts set as its task the understanding of given behavior patterns within a specific group represented by the family. When the problem is a neurosis experienced by an adult, the analyst's task is to uncover in the new psychic structure and analogy with certain infantile elements. A repetition, a duplication of conflicts that own their origin to the essence of the family constellation. In every case, the analysis clings to the concept of the family as a psychic circumstance and object. Here, however, the evidence is going to be particularly complicated. In Europe, the family represents a certain fashion in which the world presents itself to the child. There are close connections between the structure of the family and the structure of the nation. Militarization and the centralization of authority in the country automatically entail a resurgence of the authority of the father. In Europe and in other country categorized as civilized or civilizing, the family is a miniature of the nation. As the child emerged from the shadow of his parents, and this is the reason why, Smoke, I say we have to teach this to the children. As the child emerged from the shadow of his parents, he finds himself once more among the same laws, the same principles, the same values. A normal child that has grown up in a normal family will be a normal man. There is no disproportion between the life of the family and the life of the nation. Conversely, when one examines a closed society, that is, a society that has been protected from the flood of civilization, one encounters the same structures as those just described. For instance, convinces us of that. Although with every word, I got into some French shit that I can't pronounce. That pygmy, the African, it looks like. But it goes in this part here, though. For instance, convinces us, whatever that Father Trillies, for instance, convinces us, although with every word one is aware of the need of Christianize the savage Negro soul, the book's description of the whole culture, the conditions of worship, the persistence of rites, the survival of myths, has nothing of the artificial impression given by person. I can't pronounce that, it's French. And both the characteristics of the family are projected onto the social environment. It is true that the children of pickpockets or burglars, accustomed to a certain system of clan law, would be surprised to find that the rest of the world behaves differently. But a new kind of training, except in instance of perversion or arrested development, should be able to direct them into a moralization or socialization of outlook. It is apparent in all such cases that the sickness lies in the family environment. And this is an most important point we observe. The opposite of for the individual, the authority of the state is a reproduction of the authority of the family by which he was shaped in his childhood. Ultimately, the individual assimilates all the authority that he meets to the authority of the parent. He perceives the present in terms of the past, like all other humans' conduct. Behavior towards authority is something learned, and it is learned in the heart of a family that can be described from the psychological point of view by the form of organization peculiar to it. That is, by the way in which its authority is distributed and exercised. And this is a most important point we observe, the opposite in the man of color. A normal Negro child having grown up within a normal family, will become abnormal on the slightest contact with the white world. This statement may not be immediately understandable. Therefore, let us proceed by going backwards, paying tribute to Brewer Fraud wrote. In almost every case, we could see that the symptoms were, so to speak, like residue of emotional experience, to which, for this reason, we later gave the name of psychic traumas. Their individual characteristics were linked to the traumatic scenes that had provoked them. According to the classic terminology, the symptoms were determined by scenes, of which they were the mnemic residues, and was no longer necessary to regard them as arbitrary and enigmatic effects of the neurosis. Enigmatic effects of the neurosis. In contrast, however, to what was expected, it was not always a single event that was the cause of the symptom. Most often, on the contrary, it arose out of the multiple traumas, frequently analysis and repeated. But let me get into the part where we get to the black part. The code. All right, here we go. So it says, this trauma is true, has been quite expelled from the consciousness and the memory of the patient, and as a result, he has apparently been saved from a great mass of suffering. But the repressed desire continues to exist in the unconscious. It is on watch constantly for an opportunity to make itself known. It soon comes back into consciousness. Right? So then it goes, these Ariblis. Okay. What do we see in the case of the black man? Unless we make use of the frightening postulate which so destroys our balance, offered by Jug, the collective unconscious, we can understand absolutely nothing. A drama is enacted every day in colonized countries. How is one to explain, for example, that a Negro who has passed his baccalaureate and has gone to the Sorbonne to study to become a teacher of philosophy is already on guard before any conflictual elements have coincided around him? This guy's from France, so he's talking from a French perspective. In his view, it was the consequence of the replacement of Franz Fanon, So his is a lot of French jargon. But I want to show the similarities in what he's breaking down with basically us being caught up inside this white system, not knowing who we are, being dependent on the system, and how it affects us. So he goes, how is the persistence of this reaction in the 20th century to explain when in other ways there is complete identification with the white man? Very often the Negro who becomes abnormal has never had any relations with whites. Has some remote experience been repressed in his unconsciousness? Question mark. Did the little black child see his father beaten or lynched by a white man? Question mark. Has there been a real traumatism? To all of this, we have to answer no. Well then, if we want to answer correctly, we have to fall back on the idea of collective tariff. In every society, in every collective existence must exist. A channel, an outlet through which the forces accumulated in the form of aggression can be released. This is the purpose of games and children, institutions, and psychodramas, and group therapy, and in more general ways of illustrated magazines for children. Each type of society, of course, required its own specific kind of catalyst. The Tarzan story, the sages of 12-year-old explorers, the adventures of Mickey Mouse and all those comic books serve actually as a release for collective aggression. The magazines are put together by white men for little white men. This is the heart of the problem. In the Antilles, and there is every reason to think that the situation is the same in other countries. In other colonies. These same magazines are devoured by the local children. In the magazine, the wolf, the devil, the evil spirit, the bad man, the savage are always symbolized by Negroes or Indians, since there is always identification with the victor. The little Negro, quite as easily as the little white boy, becomes an explorer, an adventurer, a missionary, who faces the danger of being eaten by the wicked Negroes. I shall be told that this is hardly important, but only because those who say it have not given much thought to the role of such magazines. Here is what G. Legman thinks of them. With very rare expectations, every American child who was 6 years old in 1938 has therefore assimilated at the very least 18,000 scenes of ferocious torture and bloody violence. Except the Boers, the Americans are the only modern nation that within living memory has completely driven the autochthonous population off the soil that it had occupied. I'm guessing the natives. America alone then could have had an uneasy national conscience to lull by creating the myth of the bad Injun, in order later to be able to bring back the historic figure of the noble redskin vainly defending his land against invaders armed with rifles and Bibles. The punishment that we deserve can be averted only by denying responsibility for the wrong and throwing the blame on the victim. Proven, at least to our own satisfaction, that by striking the first and only blow, we were acting solely on the legitimate grounds of defense. So I'm going to read that real quick again, because the funny thing about it, I was listening to one of the shows, right? God, I can't even think of the name of the show. It's one of the early shows, right? And I was talking about was it The Walking Dead? I was talking about something. And I was like, they always like to show the black person who is economically weak in this country and show us with all the money, all the power, we gangster, smacking up cops and all kind of shit like that. They like to show white people like they're weak and powerless, you know what I'm saying, when they running the fucking economy over here. They got the #1 economy in the world and shit. So I was saying how when it came to the Trayvon Martin murder, you got Trayvon Martin, 16 years old, and you got George Zimmerman, grown-ass man with a gun, and they made George Zimmerman the victim and made Trayvon Martin the aggressor. You got Ferguson, right. You got the cop, 6 foot something, big cop with a gun. He make it like Mike Brown is the aggressor, and this big ass cop guns him down while he running. And they make Mike Brown the aggressor, and they make the cop the victim. And they always do that. So I'm gonna read that part again. They said, except the Boers, the Americans are the only modern nation that within living memory has completely driven the native population off the soil that it had occupied. America alone then could have had an uneasy, meaning they could have had an uneasy national conscience to lull by creating the myth of the bad Injun in order later to be able to bring back the historic figures to the noble redskin vainly defending his land against the invaders armed with rifles and Bibles. The punishment that we deserve can be averted only by denying responsibility for the wrong and throwing the blame on the victim. By proving, at least to our own satisfaction that by striking the first and only blow, we were acting solely on the legitimate grounds of defense. That's what Israel does to Palestine. And anticipating the repercussion of these magazines on American culture, Legman went on. There is still no answer to the question whether this maniacal fixation on violence and death is the substitute for a forbidden sexuality or whatever it does not rather serve the purpose of channeling. Along a line left open by sexual censorship, both the child and the adult desires for aggression against the economic and social structure which, with their entire consent, perverts them. In both cases, the root of the perversion, whether it be of a sexual or of an economic character, is of the essence. This is why, as long as we remain incapable of attacking these fundamental repressions, every attack aimed at such simple escapes devices as comic books will remain futile. The black schoolboy in the Antilles who, in his lessons, is forever talking about our ancestors, the Gauls, identifies himself with the explorer, the bringer of civilization, the white man who carries truth to the savages, and all white truth. There is identification, that is, the young Negro subjectively adopts a white man's attitude. I'm going to read that again. There is identification, because he's identifying with the Gauls, this black schoolboy. But like I said, Smoke, this is French. So that Gauls, you know what I'm saying, maybe, so I'll say it like this. The black schoolboy in America who in his lessons is forever talking about our forefathers, talking about Lewis and Clark. You see what I'm saying? So our ancestors, the Gauls, identifies himself with the explorer, the bringer of civilization, the white man who carries truth to savages, and all white truth. There is identification, that is, the young Negro subjectively adopts white man's attitude. He invests the hero who is white with all his own aggression. At that age closely linked to sacrificial dedication, a sacrificial dedication permitted with sadism. An 8-year-old child who offers a gift, even to an adult, cannot endure a refusal. Little by little, one can observe in the young Antillean the formation and crystallization of an attitude and a way of thinking and seeing that are essentially white. When in school, he has to read stories of savages told by white men. He always thinks of the Senegalese. When in school, he has to read story of savages told by white men. And when he's thinking of savages, he's thinking of Senegalese. So it's no different, Smoke, if you're reading stories and newspaper articles and shit like that, and then so they say a thug or the criminal, and you automatically thinking black. But see, out here in America, we have a game. We got a game like that called Guess What Race, where they'll read a story, and then you try to figure out in your head what race could it be. You know what I'm saying? So this is how crazy it is that these conditions that we're dealing with is so normalized that we don't even realize that these are psychological issues that we're dealing with. And this is why I say black people are the real white supremacists. Because we're the ones that prop white people up. We the ones that, because we think like white people, we move, we act. That's the reason why when black people say let's come together, you start to hear we're not a monolith. Why? Because what did we learn growing up, Smoke? the white man likes to divide and conquer. Now he don't got to divide and conquer no more because we automatically divide ourselves up when we say we're not a monolith. So we scatter. So then it goes, as a schoolboy, I had many occasions to spend whole hours talking about the supposed customs of the savage Senegalese. In what was said, there was a lack of awareness that was at the very least paradoxical, because the Antillean does not think of himself as a black man. He thinks of himself as an Antillean. So let me say this again for black people to understand in America. Because the American does not think of himself as a black man, this black American, this African American, does not think of himself as a black man. He thinks of himself as an American. The Negro lives in Africa. Subjectively, intellectually, the Antillean conducts himself like a white man. But he is a Negro. That he will learn once he goes to Europe. And when he hears Negroes mentioned, he will recognize that the word includes himself as well as the Senegalese. What are we to conclude on this matter? Question mark. Meaning that this black person with this white mind, he will identify himself as black. He will say, oh, yes, we are black people and all that shit. But the mind frame is still white. The desires are still white. That's what I realized, Smoke, with a lot of these black people when they talk. A lot of times I don't hear strategy. All I hear is a white obsession or white fear. So I either want what white people have, or I'm going to put the fear of what white people could do to you if you try to elevate. Well, I don't want to hear that. What's the strategy? You know what I'm saying? What's the strategy? The motivation can't be, and we're going to kill every white person in the world. That can't be your motivation. You know what I'm saying? That can't be. That's not. You know what I'm saying? That's not it. And that's why I said you have to go back to up from slavery, Booker T. Washington, and you have to go back. And you have to get to, where is the page at? But you have to go back to the page. Yeah, here we go. You got to go back to the page where he's saying, cash down your bucket to these neighbors of these different races around you. Meaning, put aside any of your issues and hang-ups that you have with these people and get money. Build your economy. Let's build the race up economically. Let's build our culture up. Let's build our love up for each other. Let's have camaraderie amongst black men. Camaraderie amongst black women and black women. Camaraderie amongst black women, black man, woman, and child. You see what I'm saying? And that's when you're going to start to see a black kid ain't even going to think about robbing another black person or pulling out a gun on another black person. But see them black kids out there that do that? Them black women out there that do that? Them black grown-ups out there that do that? They have that white man mind frame. And guess what? If you tell them that they got a white man mind frame, they're going to tell you, no, I know I'm a nigga. Now let that process in your head. So it goes, what are we to conclude on this matter? To impose the same evil spirits on the white man and on the black man is a major error in education. If one is willing to understand the evil spirits in the sense of an attempt to personify the ID, the point of view will be understood. If we are utterly honest, we must say that children counting out rhymes are subject to the same criticism. It will have already been noticed that I should like nothing more nor less than the establishment of children's magazines, especially for Negroes. The creation of songs for Negro children and ultimately the publication of history texts, especially for them, at least through the grammar school grades. For until there is evidence to the contrary, I believe that if there is a traumatism, it occurred during those years. So grammar school, elementary school, they saying that's when the trauma starts. And you know that to be true, Smoke, because that's when they like to tell you the lies. Columbus discovered America. Black people were slaves. We started here as slaves. Everything was started with slavery. You know what I'm saying? Then Abraham Lincoln freed y'all, and Martin Luther King said y'all gonna overcome. And then when you get into middle school and high school, then they want to be like, Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. This thing, you know what I'm saying? Type shit like that. So
the damage is done already.
It's already the damage is done. So what the brother's saying is, at least in the grammar school years, let's pump some magazines. And who they saying to pump it to? The babies. And that's why I say, if you want to see the change for the next generation, you have to pump that to the babies. All this faggotry that's going on and all this gender neutral shit they're trying to push on the people, they're not doing that to the adults. They're not doing that to me. That's not going to affect me. They're pumping that shit to my children. They're pumping that shit to your children. So when they're growing up in this society, you as the parent is checking your child and not giving your child that strength to stand up against these oppressions. So now when they come up in society, they're automatically bowing down and calling a man a girl and a girl a man. And up and down and left and right and everything confused because you never put that power into your child to stand up and be like, no, I know who the fuck I am. Y'all not about to make me call a fucking dude. If that's what, leave me alone then. Fuck out of here. You see, they trying to kill that spirit. They trying to kill that spirit. So they do that in the youth and the babies because they know once they destroy you in the beginning, when your brain is a sponge, by the time you get older and that shit locked up and you don't want to learn no more, you got all the poison locked up in your head. You got all the poison locked up in your fucking head. You know? So that's why I found it interesting they keep on talking about at least reading the books and shit. And even with the comics, it's the same shit. The comics, you can put that as a cartoon. You're looking at the main character as a white boy with blonde hair. He's a cool kid. You're looking at the girl that he likes is the white girl with the fucking blonde hair. She's the cool kid. And then you're looking at the others. And then you start to look at the others, and guess what? You don't want to be the others. You want to be the cool kids. So now you have your hat to the back. You want to say their words, their rhymes. You want to wear their clothes like. And we don't realize we're damaging our youth like that because once we do that and we have them hating who they are, not acknowledging who they are as black people, not loving being black and idolizing being white, these same kids grow up hating themselves. And then what do we turn around and say, Smoke? These kids crazy. Why are you kids acting like that?
White supremacy.
Yeah.
White supremacy.
White supremacy. And guess what? We pumping it. We pumping it because we're not teaching our kids white supremacy. So the default is white supremacy. And that's why when you're talking black to these kids will turn around and tell you, you're racist. You're like, whoa, what? I'm talking to a black kid about elevating yourself as a black man. This is a true story. I was talking to Tyshawn and one of his homies, 20 years old. You know, Scully. And I'm sitting over here talking to them, and I'm like, yo, you know, hey, you in competition with all these different races, and, you know, do your business and shit, but, yo, don't be trusting these white people, man, in that business. Like, yo, make sure you on top of your shit. And they laughing like, you talking all that black, with that black and white shit. You know, it's a lot of black people out here. You know, here go the white supremacy. There's a lot of black people out here killing black people. I'm more concerned about that. Ain't white people ain't doing that to me. It's these niggas out here doing shit to me. The reason why we can't come together because niggas don't support niggas. And I'm just like, I'm listening to this dude talk, and I'm just like, wow, you don't get it. But he don't. Guess what? He wasn't raised. Nah, this was like maybe a year, 2 years ago, something like that. It's when
Okay.
Malika got married, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like during that time. And so when I'm saying that to him, he's like, he's going through the full rant. Blacks don't support blacks, and black people kill black people, and if I see a white person walking up to me, I'm not in fear and ready to grab my gun. If I see a black person, I'm wondering where you come. And I'm listening to him. All this white supremacy coming out your mouth. You sound just like a fucking Klansman. You know what I'm saying? But we don't get it because at the same time he's young. That's a young dude. I mean, he was in his 20s, early 20s. So that lets me know when you was younger, you wasn't getting that black reinforcement. You was left to grow within society. And just like Franz Fanon said, now this black schoolboy grow up idolizing these white characters and identifying with the colonizer, the explorer, his oppressor. And when he thinks savage, thug, he thinks black. Criminal, he thinks black. Poor, he thinks black. Crime, black. That's the problem. And the only way to change that shit is we have to change in how our children think. And that's by pumping them with black supremacy. Not excluding that shit. Not saying, I don't want my child to grow up being racist. That racism is not your problem. You know what I'm saying? You ain't create that shit. But you better use that shit to fight, because guess what? Everybody practice supremacy. Down to the gays. All of them practice. The only person that's not practicing supremacy is black people and homeless people. That's it. Black people. Yeah, man. So that's how we're going to do that. So we're about to wrap it up, man. It was a good, productive show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Today's
that
black.
was a good sharp point at the end. End it all off.
That's right. And today's Black History Month person that was highlighted, that is Franz Fanon, Black Skin, White Mask. Get that book. Last week we read From Slavery, Booker T. Washington. Get that book. We ran across The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. Get that book. Read from Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos of Community by Martin Luther King. Get that book. Read up on those books. And understand it's not about picking sides. It's about getting the parts that work and building and expounding upon that. But until next time, this is In Black America Radio with your host, Rasta B. Smoke, you want to close out?
Yeah, another week in the building, man. Another sharp show. Yeah, man. Thanks for everybody for listening. You know what I'm saying? Keep tuning back in. We'll be back next Friday. Rest in peace, Pops.